In the world of Harry and Meghan's staff, it's tricky, right? I mean, I've worked for very rich and famous people, and the thing that you really are very difficult to do around them is to sort of gauge their mood, and you're always having to play their ego. Because whichever way you look at it, if you don't play their ego, then, well, things are very, very problematic indeed. And this is really what certain people fail to do with Harry and Meghan, because clearly they just thought, well, I'm here doing the job. And as we've seen, the revolving door of staff at Archwell, there's a lot of problems behind the scenes because it can never be the celebrity's fault. And that is, of course, what Harry and Meghan are. They are celebrities, right? That's the deal. What's interesting though now is, well, what was supposed to be an absolute triumph in publicity and PR, well, guess what? Somebody's getting the blame. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. It's lovely to have your company. The big fallout of that interview with the BBC has been really catastrophic, to coin a very famous phrase now from New York City. You see, the problem is that when you do sort of those interviews, as Harry's really noted over the years, whether it be with Oprah Winfrey and, things like that, they're a documentation. Now, you'll notice, of course, that Meghan is very, very clever in those interviews because they're very much focused on her. She never really brings up people like you could say, say Jessica Mulrooney or, ex-friend. She doesn't go on camera attacking anybody. It's very vague and very light and fluffy. So nobody can say Meghan's evil. She said this about this person. Harry is sort of well, I forgive my parents. I forgive my stepmother. Well, forgive them for what? What have they done? And this is exactly what he reiterated after much, schooling behind the scenes ahead of the BBC interview. So wound up was Harry, whichever way you want to look at it, that he decided to go over the allotted time by 20 minutes. And then this was going to go out there and this was going to be marvellous and everybody was going to think it's terrific. And then this happened. Right, this woman here, Meredith Main, is the woman who apparently was going to salvage the career of Meghan Markle, and she's the whatever CEO of As Ever, a company that sells, 6 products? What's interesting here, though, is that she was the archetype, quite a phrase, behind the scenes to help Harry land this particular interview. How hard would be, really, ringing up a few TV channels and saying, I've got an aggrieved prince here, I didn't get the security, he's ready to chat. Yes, first out of the traps with the BBC, because they felt that this was a more reputable company, if you were. Right. Now, what's happened, and this is from an excellent source behind the scenes, is that now the backlash is kicking in. And guess what? Both Harry and Meghan, once again, are looking at each other as to, well, what's gone wrong? Well, what's gone wrong is that you've taken the advice of someone and clearly you thought this was going to work. And it spectacularly backfired. Harry felt, and this is what I've been told from that source, and I know people that were working on the interview, that really once the interview was done, then people really from the monarchy would reach out for a reconciliation, or at least put out something, a documentation of saying, we hope to speak and solve the problem, between both families in the imminent future, something like that. Clearly what Buckingham Palace put out wasn't what Harry wanted to hear. And so consequently, behind the scenes, the blame game's starting. Well, you know what happens with the blame game, don't you? Because once that starts, right, then somebody has to go. And we've seen this, whether it be Sunshine Sacks, and they can say they're left of their own accord. We've seen it with every person that's going to be out there, rescuing them, putting their reputation back together. Behind the scenes, I'm told, well, things are, shall we say, delicate, tricky, and explosive all at the same time. Outwardly, of course, they've all got their polished veneers, smiling for the camera. Behind the scenes, though, the question has been asked, how or who could get this so spectacularly wrong? And the first question is, it's never Harry or Meghan's fault, right? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.